Okay, so the security guard calls down.
Yeah.
All right. The first time, and I kind of dismissed that. I said, okay, call me if something more important happens. I guess I was doing some homework or something. And he calls back about 5 minutes later. And this time he's frightened. I can tell by his voice that he's very frightened.
Mm-hmm.
He's quivering. He's shouting into the phone saying there's an object, glowing red object, hovering outside the front gate. Very large object, saucer-shaped, I think is the term he used. He's got all the guards out there with their guns, their weapons drawn, and he wants to know what to do.
Sure.
I was kind of shocked at this. I mean, he sounded very extremely stressed out. You know, he was very excited. I think I told him, well, is the perimeter secured? You know, the fence secured. It hasn't been breached. He said yes, and then he told me he had to go because one of his guards was injured. So he hung up the phone. I immediately went to my commander, woke him up. He was taking a nap. Lieutenant Mywald at the time. Started telling him what I'd heard from topside, and then our missiles started shutting down. So at that time, maybe within 30 seconds to a minute of him hanging up upstairs, our weapons started going no-go.
So would you mind to describe how
break that down.
Break down, because you have lights?
Yeah, we have a bank of lights monitoring the status of each missile system, each weapon. And green light means they're ready to launch at any time. And of course, there's cautionary lights, and then there's red light up there saying you can't launch the missile. There's some condition that's precluding the launch of the weapon. And that's what we were getting. We were getting bing, 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 bing. You know, they're starting to all shut down. According to Mywald, he recalls that we lost maybe 6, 7 missiles. It seemed to me like we had lost most of them, just about all of them. But
and how many were there?
10.
Okay.
So we're monitoring 10 weapons.
10.
These started going no-go. We're getting the red lights, and in a lot of them we're getting also, in some of them we were also getting security incursion lights. In other words, there was some security problem out there. So we were shocked, to say the least. I call upstairs. After we go through our procedures, we had procedures to go through, and we reported to the command post. While Fred Mywald was reporting the command post, I was calling upstairs, and he said the object had left. It was gone. The guard was okay. He had cut his hand rather badly on I believe the fence, and he was either probably trying to
get over it, or
get over the fence. He was so frightened.
At this point?
At this point, he was very frightened, and this is with other people I've talked to who have actually seen these things. It's extremely frightening experience. But anyway, I think that's how he was injured, and he was removed from the base and went back to the hospital because it was a severe cut. But anyway, he was okay, and the object had gone. Now we had still some security lights on. Well, the missiles were down. We had security lights on. So I, at that time, dispatched security guards to 1 or 2 of the sites. So I asked them to go out there. Mywald was talking to the command post, and the command post had told him that Echo Flight had also reported a similar incident at the time. So Echo Flight, and I'll show you a map a little bit later on.
It's the same period of time, exactly?
Well,
after one?
I don't know the exact terminology, but Echo, I recall that Mywald turned to me and said Echo Flight also had a similar incident. Now, I can show you a little bit later where Echo Flight is compared to Oscar. But they're not far away.
How long did it take to get the missiles back online, or did they just come back online?
No, they didn't just come back online. As I recall, you know, we had maintenance teams. There was quite a scramble on base because of what was going on at our flight and also Echo Flight to get enough maintenance people out to the sites. They had to call people, as a matter of fact, they had to call people from, they were off duty, enough people to get out there to get these missiles back up. This was kind of a crisis situation as for the command structure there at Malmstrom, because we lost almost 20 weapons within a short span. 20 weapons were down.
In all?
Huh?
In all?
In all. Nearly 20. Well, again, so the reason I think this story is really important is because we have 4, not just 1, but 4 ex-Air Force personnel that were there that were receiving reports of UFOs at the time these missiles went no-go. And we've got statements from the Air Force as late as 1990 stating that no UFO incident has ever caused any impact with national security. And again, we were fighting a war. You know, Vietnam was going on. We were fighting a Cold War in 1967. And we lost nearly 20 weapons for no apparent reason. So,
you think it could be connected with 1967? There was no big operation in Vietnam at this time?
no.
No?
Not really. I mean, they were starting to build up, but here's a map. It's very hard to see, but
I can zoom in on it.
okay.
Yep.
Here's Great Falls, Montana. Malmstrom Air Force Base is up north of the town. Here's Echo. And
what's the scale of distance between the sites, roughly?
Oh gosh, this is 20 miles right here.
20 miles.
Right there. So we're about 100 miles away. Lewistown is about 100 miles away. Okay. And here's Echo 1. Here's November, and the reason I had November here is because after I realized I wasn't at Echo, I thought I was in November, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why in a minute. But Oscar is, I'd say, right around in here, Oscar Flight.
So they're separated by 5, 10, 20 miles?
Well, I'd say this is 20 or 30 miles from Lewistown, maybe 30, and this is 30, and this is 30. So, and then of course the launch facilities, where the missiles are actually located, are in kind of a loose ring around the launch control facility. Okay, there's another map I can show you here. Now, one thing I'd like to show you, because this is of interest, real interest to me, this is one of the first copies of this telex I was just reading from. This is one of the first copies we received of this telex. It was sent out by Headquarters SAC on this incident. And notice it has reference, my secret message dated, dated 17 March 67, same subject. It has a reference on this, and this is a copy we received from the Air Force. And then later on, as we were doing our FOIA investigation, we received another copy of this message. And notice the reference line, same message, but the reference line is gone. Which to me indicates they were trying to hide the fact that there was a previous message on this subject. And I believe that that message did talk about UFOs, and the reason I believe that is because we have a witness that was in the cryptographic center who lives in Washington, and you're free to contact him. I'll give you as many of these numbers as you'd like. Who was in the cryptographic center that recalls seeing such a message where it says UFOs were reported over launch facilities, etc. But at any rate, this to me indicates that the Air Force is involved in some kind of cover-up if they're willing to blank out references like this to previous messages.
Certainly in extreme national security issues.
Well, certainly. Yeah, they would do whatever they could, I guess,
Don't you think
to obfuscate the truth, right?
Don't you think they had not a good reason to make that for this incident?
Well, see, I don't think they've got a good reason now, because actually we're submitting an FOIA request way after the fact. They've already said that we're declassifying the fact that these weapons went down, although they don't agree that UFOs were involved. And so what they're doing is trying to deny that there were any UFOs involved in this incident. And this is one of the ways they're doing it, by trying to hide whatever evidence there might be. Okay?
So for you, it's illegal.
Well, I don't know if I could say illegal. They're the government, right? Whatever they do is legal. They make the laws. But I don't think it's right. I think the public has the right to know
After the Cold War,
this.
especially, in my feeling. Cold War is over.
Right, right. Cold War is over. But even
Yes and no.
even so, I think the public should know if, in fact, we have been visited by, you know.
Yeah, but you know, when I would like to understand, when you have such a visit, a so-called visit, it's not so friendly. Because when you have at least 20 high CBMs out of service, it's not to say,
It could have been a good joke.
Well, I don't consider it a joke, but I do. Yeah, I consider it a message from them. That's what I consider it. That they were stating that you know, you're playing with something very dangerous here, nuclear weapons, and obviously, and we all agree. I mean, we've all been trying to disarm other countries and reduce nuclear stockpile, and I think all of us agree that we're playing with a very dangerous thing here. And to me, I think that's what it was. I don't think it was an aggressive act. I don't consider it an aggressive act, but that's just my opinion. What I'd like to see is this publicized so that the public can make up their mind what it was, you know, that we can all draw a consensus on this.